Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Andrew Arguello. Thank you for coming back to another episode of my podcast, Suspense for YA, where I cover novels I've read and break them down. Before I get into it, I would like to thank my sponsor, Kravitz, Swine, and More Law Firm. You never know when someone might frame you. A good lawyer can go a long way. Today I'm talking about Premeditated by Jocelyn L. McQueen. I will cover the characterization of Dina and Brooks, two major characters in this story. I will also explain the economic context of this book and apply a Marxist literary theory to this story. Using the Marxist literary theory, we see there are two distinct classes, the wealthy and the poor. In the town in which Premeditated takes place, the classes are split by a street. On one side is a nice community with a fancy private school, and on the other side is a poor public school. Dina and Dex are part of the poor side. Both of their families are poor and struggle to survive. Dex works a job at the local carnival to help make ends meet. Luckily for Dina, though, she got to move in with her uncle. Her uncle is a wealthy CEO because he owns a gaming company. While Dina may have newly succumbed to this wealth, it is not her. She struggles living this lifestyle. Wearing nice clothing, fancy jewelry, and not having piercing on is difficult for her. She likes to express herself through dyeing her hair and her emo gothic ways. The wealthy are expected to look like it and act like it. And to Dina, that is not her. Dex, however, tries his very hardest to fit in. He struggles financially, but still tries to fit in. He tries to mimic Brooks because Brooks is a standout member of the wealthy community. Brooks was born wealthy, and it shows that he is. Who he is and the way that he carries himself shows it. He dresses nicely constantly, and he has a very nice house. He does not have to work a job like Dex does because he does not need the money for it. He spends all his time focusing on school and his college applications, and it helps build a resume for him. He has a high view of himself, and so does everyone else. Although he can build a college application, Dex and Dina cannot because they don't have the time for it. Dex is too busy working, and Dina is too busy trying to ruin Brooks that she doesn't have that time. As we progress through the book, we see character development and why they are the way they are. I will start with Dina. Dina and her family used to be neighbors to her cousin Claire. Claire and Dina were inseparable because they were best of friends. After Claire had been hospitalized, Dina asked if she could stay with her uncle even though her parents left the state. Dina wanted to get revenge for Claire because she was now in the hospital because of Brooks. We start to see how smart Dina is. She's a coordinated and a tactitious person. She is cunning and spends so much time being someone she is not. She has two personas, her private life and the persona she puts on at school. Dina is not close with very many people. Everything at school is a front. We see how she's able to fake her life with everyone she knows. Dina is the way she is because of her mother. Her mother constantly judged her and berated her. Although Dina does not love her mother, she absolutely despises her. She was never good enough for her. So she started to pretend to be someone she isn't, even though it would never make her mother happy. She's so good at living a lie, she forgets she is living a lie. We also see how hard all of this is on her. She wants to get revenge so bad for Claire, she can't see that it's hurting her more than it's helping her. She slowly loses her mind and is clearly struggling with her new life. She falls behind in school because she's so focused on Brooks. It is too much for her to handle, and it shows. Quote from the story: "I was pointless, just like all the effort I had put into this, trying to make things right for Claire. Not only could I not form real sentences, I could not get my legs to cooperate with me and get my body off the ground." On to Brooks. Brooks is this perfect guy, tall, handsome, and smart. He is school smart, and everyone thinks he lives a perfect life because of how easy school comes to him. At home, his dad can't even look at him. Brooks looks too much like his dead mother. and in a sense that he relates to Dina in that way, never being good enough for their parents. He tries hard to make his dad proud, doing everything he can to get into his dream college, but no matter what he does, he can never seem to do right. Quote from the story, "You did not tell me you had decided to reinstate yourself as a tutor. Your mother would approve." That was from Brooks' dad. Another quote from Dina. "The threat of Brooks' dad being so close put him on his best behavior and got me stuck having to endure a trick's tutoring session. It shows that Brooks' dad is influential in his life because he wants Brooks to succeed, but he doesn't show it in a nice way. Brooks spends so much time in school or doing school-related things, he does not have time for himself. As we start the book, we are told to have this hatred for Brooks, the guy who ruined a girl, a terrible person who should be in prison. However, as the book continues, we begin to see that Brooks isn't this person we were told he is. He was so kind and perfect to everyone. It seemed impossible for him to do something like this to a girl. Brooks is genuinely a good person who is framed. And before Dina had framed him, he was already framed by his best friend. He had no idea how he could be hated by someone he did nothing to, and he became so paranoid due to his life falling apart. He stopped going out and focused on school. He closed everyone off but Dina. He trusts her, but he didn't even know that she was the one causing all of the bad things happening to her. Lastly, the economical context of Premeditated. Premeditated takes place in 2013. With new technologies that were developed during this time, it really contributes to the story. Dina used computers to hack and interfere with Brooks' college applications and his college interviews. Quote from the story, "Email me so we can backtrace the IP. Hacking someone's computer could lead to serious trouble, but Tabitha was right. If we wanted to ruin Brooks, then any messages or emails had to look like they came from him." End quote. She was also able to learn what his day-to-day looked like. New technology developed in security, allowing her to frame Brooks. She had her friend Brucey plant a necklace on Brooks while they were at the mall shopping one day. When he walked through a metal scanner, it went off. Brooks was taken by an officer and put in a holding cell. Dina had her friend Brucey admit to framing Brooks, which set Brooks free. He was very thankful for Dina helping him get free, and he felt like he owed her one. Also, with phones being a key development at this time, Dina was able to secretly communicate with her friends while being with Brooks. She had set up a plan to plant another piece of evidence on Brooks, this time in his car. While she was hanging out with Brooks, she had texted her friends to put alcohol in his car. Secretly, while doing this, her other friend, Brucey, was also messing up his college applications. He changed one date to a different date so Brooks would be late. When Brooks found this out, he rushed to his car and started speeding to the applications. He was pulled over and the police found the alcohol in his car. He then was arrested and had the charge permanently put on his record. To recap on today's episode, I discussed the book of Premeditated by Jocelyn L. McQueen. I talked about the characterization of Brooks and Dina, two major characters in the story. I also talked about the Marxist literary theory and how it applies to the story and the economical context of this story. I would also like to thank the Kravis, Swine, and Moore's law firm for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you all for listening, and hopefully you enjoyed. Please leave a review. In next week's episode, I will be covering These Deadly Games by Diana Urban.